Start streaming. Concept. Yeah. I think we got a connection.
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you
don't.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
I was a little bit too itchy on the trigger finger there. We got some full color today. And we also have something else. Let's see if I can do this with this microphone. The official rockflux.com mug. Oh, came in like less than a week. I mean, if you want a close-up of it, picture-wise, it doesn't look exactly like that. It's kind of it gave the Earth the Earth is truly an oblate spheroid, except it's oblate the other way. The coffee's real hot right now, but anyway, I got it. I bought one, you know. So why not you?
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello. 4:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time here. It's Friday, TGIF for some of you. For me, it's just another day. Every morning she takes her morning bath. Whatever she does, it's just another day. Anyway, it's just another day for me. Friday, August 6th, 2021. And we might as well get into this right away. I was going to, I'm going to kick myself for it. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I got an idea. Bear with me, folks. I know at the beginning, here we go. I've obviously been here before. Let's look at this. See if I can. New experimental. Actually, I don't want anything experimental. I just want it's so hard. High resolution version. Okay. What does that mean? No, that won't do it. National temperature. What I'm looking for is, I've decided I give you these national maps. Yeah, but that's not it. What I wanted to do is I thought, since I'm giving this weather here at this really very odd location, high resolution version. Let's see what they did. All this does is tell you rain and thunderstorms. But they have a picture of one with temperatures. National maps. That's not it. All right, we always waste the first couple of minutes of the show trying to figure out, 48-hour forecast. That's useless. These guys have this down to a science. High resolution. Meaningless. temperature? Can you show me the temperature everywhere? It's as if, you pay the government for this stuff and they just don't give you what you want. They make it so hard. So it's like people like the Weather Channel or something. They've got, they sit here and mess with this stuff all day long. Satellite. That's useless. Radar. Graphical forecasts. What I'm looking for is a national map that actually shows the temperatures. And I've seen it. I can see one right now. But I cannot. It refuses. When I click on it, it refuses to give me a copy of it. There's a heck of a way to start the show. Come on, I'm hell-bent on doing this, so if you don't like this, just switch the channel. I'm hell-bent on doing this. 6 to 10 day outlook. Temperature probability. All right, let's see if we can do this. We're going to do this now, whether you like it or not. Otherwise, just go away, okay? The title of this show is People Are Addicted to Torment. So I guess in a sense, since you're addicted to torment, this really doesn't matter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new image. And I'm going to call it Weather Map. Okay, Weather Map. My chair already sunk down, so we're starting off at a really good way. Now, why don't we keep it as is? Because apparently that's probably the way it will show. Okay. Now, we don't really need to see Canada, and I'm sorry for my friends in Alaska. Here's the deal with Alaska. It looks to me like it's going to be like 50 degrees, 55 degrees. It's going to be, that's your temperature up there. If I read this properly. Okay, I'm going to move my chair up. Move myself over. It's uncomfortable here. And we're going to go into weekend weather. And here's the weekend weather forecast for you. Now, if you look at this map, the 6 to 10 day outlook, temperature probability. And this was made yesterday. Let's hope it was the evening. Valid August 11th through the 15th, 2021. So this is kind of a forecast. Now, the probability, I guess, means that the likelihood thereof. So as you can see on the West Coast, it's going to be extremely above average temperatures. Now, when they say above average temperatures, what they mean is for that particular area, not in general. And as you can see in the Northeast, it's the same deal. And the probability of above is high, okay? And, of course, down in places like southern Texas, New Mexico, Arizona area, kind of. It looks like, it's just going to be 50-50, normal. Does that make any sense to you? So the temperatures in general, those are your probability. This is a useless map. It gives you an idea. So while we do that weekend weather, I might as well tell you what it's like in my neck of the woods. It's 64 degrees outside my studio, and it's going to be 84 degrees here in the Mid-Atlantic states, and 66 overnight. Saturday, 82, 63 overnight. Sunday, 84, 66 overnight and sunny. And for the start of your work week, as they say in the weather business, 88, 68, Tuesday, 88, 70. And I've seen those numbers as high as 90. So in other words, it's going to be kind of pretty much throughout the U.S.
Weekend weather.
It's going to be a typical summer getting towards the end of the dog days of summer. We're in the heart of the dog days of summer, put it that way. Okay, can I get a little bit more here? And I drink some coffee. I want to show off this mug, but it's hard to do that with the microphone. See, it's the real thing. Just as advertised. But like I say, the logo's a little bit oval. The Earth is oval instead of oblate. But it doesn't matter. It's a Rockflux logo. It's a Rockflux mug. You get it. You support the show. People look at it and they say, that's cool. I'll go back into the artwork and see if I can fatten it up a little bit. I'm not sure if I can do that or not.
Your papers, please.
Yeah, it's the same old here every day, including,
This is insane. This is insane.
But today's going to be a little bit different. I'm trying to really focus on people are addicted to torment. And I have to say that, and it's based on interactions I've had looking at YouTube and listen. This morning I had my voice assistant give me like the Bloomberg news, because to me, in the old days, even when I still had television, if I would watch something, I would always watch the financial networks, because you figured money moves the world around, right? Follow the money, show me the money, that stuff. I mean, that's true. And we live in a corporatocracy, so, what do you expect? It's Hawaiian Shirt Friday, by the way. Okay. You can almost see my tan, I think, a little bit. Maybe a little dark. No. For those of you who are vain, or who think I'm vain, my face looks a little bit reddish, I think, but that could be nothing. But no more, out of color sync than the background. There's some kind of insect in here. But what I was getting at is that I'd listen to the financial networks because you figured, that they're more matter-factual, and just, the news they give is based upon, moving markets and people who are investing and things of that nature. So the opinionated part of it would be very minimum. I mean, unless somebody was forecasting, somebody had an opinion that a certain stock, whatever, a company was doing this and they were projecting something. But generally the news on there was usually news for business people, right? And this is so out of whack, this camera. You see the logo, though. It's authentic. And the mug is exactly as advertised. In case you couldn't hear that. It's exactly as advertised. And that's a slurp of coffee. That's fairly decent. It's a decent-sized mug. It's not tiny. But anyway, so I put on this Bloomberg, to get their capsulized morning thing. And instead, there was really nothing there that was giving me any financial advice. Not that I care about that, but I wanted to hear, like they even mentioned, they said the markets are up. We're up. But they didn't give the numbers. It's a financial network. Instead, they were getting into political, opinionated pieces based on that thing, of course, which, and things of that nature. It was very bizarre, and but what I did glean one or two things from the discussion. It seemed, where they were going with the discussion. I'm sorry if this microphone moving around bothers you. The title card for today is The Morning Show. We touched on this yesterday, but, these shows are a episodic continuation. A third of your life is spent being programmed and conditioned for servitude. All right. And of course it starts, the lockers are, demonstrated. It starts with the education system. Obviously, that's where you spend a third of your life. The first third, the most important third, the crucial third, and then the formative years, right? I'm wearing this Union Jack hat for no apparent reason other than it was the closest one to grab. But, hats off to you, Brits, Even if you did, even if the U.S. was founded on, revolting against you, and then you came back in 1812 and burned down our capital. Colonized the world, totally made a mess of India, and look at South Africa. It's almost, it's out of the news, but, look what happened down there. Sorry, guys, but, the U.S. has done the same thing. I mean, the CIA, is meddled in just about, it's not, we don't do overt colonization, right? We do covert colonization. Be that as it may, to get back to this concept here that will take us on this adventure today. There's this need for content. And, before I turned it off, they were actually talking about content, but they had a kind of warped view of it. They were talking about how South Face guys signed some deal and some other show signed some deal, and that there were what they call M&As, mergers and acquisitions, and that content is still king, and whatever. Of course, I've been telling you that all along, that there's a void of content. All you have to do is, the reason I refuse to resubscribe to Netscape or HBO Max or whatever, or any of those services, and I'm bored silly with Amazon Prime, is that there's no content on it. And all the content is targeted at, whoever the people, this little group of people who sit around a table, these warped-minded individuals who spend a third of their life being programmed, right? And have this warped idea of reality. And they're sitting around putting on wasting all the money they do have and putting on shows from the vast library of existing material based upon something that kind of matches with their warped ideologies that are only representative of, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20% of the population. Might go that high. Might go up to 20%. But it's really no more than that, right? And, people people subscribe to these things out of absolute boredom during the lockdowns. It's crazy. Like, I ended up watching Alien 2 or 3 yesterday. Like, I actually watched the whole thing. I think it was Alien 2. And, that movie was like 83 or something like that. I'm not going to look it up. The first one was 79. We know that. So this was 80 something. It was a Cameron movie. Cameron directed that one. And it was interesting to watch some of the primitive CGI type of effects they had, like the spaceship going through the cloud as it would enter into the planet. It was like You can almost see an outline, a little bit of an outline around it. It's amazing where we've come. But then again, it's been it's like almost 40 years. So, for its time, it was good. I was telling somebody the other day, this is a quick aside, how spaceships in the early days, whenever the future was all filled with flashing lights and all that stuff. And now you look at stuff and there's no lights. And, I grew up in a generation of, even when I worked in radio and things like that, we always had like lights everywhere, indicator lights, you call them. So that when a switch was on, the light came on. There was a light above it and things like that. And which actually to me is kind of a cool thing. And considering that indicator lights, you literally use no electricity. In fact, they almost could pass through the current. There are actually light switches. I have one upstairs because it's a 100-year-old house. But I have a light switch that, like, when it's off, there's always like this dim red glow on it. But it's not like there's a light bulb back there, But be that as it may, they're out of touch. Content is king. And anyway, back to Bloomberg, which was the financial network I put on, but it would have been any of them. The other ones would have probably been worse, right? And so they were just, the guy was like, there was an interview with somebody from the Congo, some doctor from the Congo, somehow was tied in with, who was she tied in with? I don't know. Somehow she was tied into some global thing. And he was just pushing her and like, it's like getting the reward when his directing, trying to direct the question, right? You know how people ask questions that there's really only one way proper, in their mind, one proper way to answer it. And when the proper answer would come through, you could feel in his, coming across, in his voice, it was like, yeah, great. Okay, good. Great. Perfect answer. That's good. Type of thing. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You answered right. Great. Okay, now I'm going to try to push you and direct you into another way of the question. Because basically, this isn't really an interview. This is just me trying to get across my warped, programmed, conditioned, right, idea of, the unreal world we live in. And the same goes, and I was glancing on, you can say you have to go through YouTube to get here. And when I say here, I mean to this program in order for me to broadcast, webcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Did you really believe I would have? See, some people might have doubted me when I said I would have it by the end of the week. I didn't pay any extra shipping or anything. No, ma'am. No, sir. So, apparently, within this discussion, as I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. It's 5:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. I more or less had a full night's sleep, though. I mean, I recall waking up around, I think I woke up at 11, because I went to bed like around 7:30 or something like that. So, 7 to 3. 8 hours of sleep. So I was up at a little after 3. I woke up at 11, but I managed to get back to sleep, and I woke up at 3 something. So, all things considered, approximately 8 hours of sleep. They say 7 to 8, but I think the closer to 8, the better. They say 7 because that's part of the programming and conditioning for servitude. Because they want people, the work, because your job, after you spend a third of your life, for some people, it's half their life because their lives are so stressed out, they die of a heart attack at 50. Right. Which is really sad, you know. And the body starts falling apart in your 50s, and if not then, in your 60s, because you've been tormented, right? Your whole life, stressed and tormented. You know, more and more I believe in this loosh concept. And that's the idea that, you know, Earth is like some kind of prison planet, and that there's actually those that are, you know, got us in this kind of reincarnation loop, trap, what do they call it? Reincarnation trap, soul trap, whatever you want to call it. And they somehow get to draw energy from our frustration, anger, hatred, all of the things, stress, and all those things that actually they feed off of that, and it's a thing they call it a thing called loosh, and that's, you know, and you know, like when you think of like Occam's razor, which I talk about all the time, you know, when you try to make sense of all the madness that's going on, it's like that thing just keeps coming back, keeps bubbling up to the top as the most logical, simple explanation, as if somebody's actually getting off on this. You know, because it doesn't make sense otherwise, right? Like I used to always say years ago, you know, when I used to look at people, you know, these wealthy people and how they were more or less tormenting people. You know, in other words, I would go like, look, you have the perfect life. Why are you making life of other people so miserable? You know, every time I had money, you know, I either was just in my own world with, you know, hanging out with my people. I wasn't going out of my way to make someone else's life miserable. In fact, like I said before, you know, if you know, for some reason, if I, you know, once in a blue moon, I'll play the rub-off ticket or something, you know, or the lottery. You know, I don't do that often at all. I'm talking about every other month, maybe twice, you know, 6 times a year at best. But say, for example, I won like a, you know, a decent payoff. Well, first of all, I want to stay within the poverty line. So I'd give the ticket to somebody else. So, you know, a person in particular I know who wants a car, I'd say, here, I'll cash this ticket in. You get yourself a car, and then here's what I would like. You know, just give me some cash and help me with, you know, help me fix my roof, or, you know, do it as a donation so I could just stay here and be free. But out of some of the cash I would do, depending upon what time it was, I would be like one of those secret Santa type of guys, you know, or I'd go down to some place where the people are really needy, you know, and I'd look and stake people out, you know, because you could tell who the phonies are and who the, you know, and who the people are just, they're going to waste it on, you know, so I'm not going to give it to somebody who's wasted on drugs or some stupid thing, you know, party, yeah, you know, that kind of thing. No, somebody who really needs it and is going to do something with that. And I'd hand him a couple of $100 bills. I'd be one of those guys. And I'm not saying that's the answer. You know, like these people should do that. But I'm saying I don't understand why they torment people the way, you know, people are being tormented. And then, like I said in the title of the show, which I have to keep looking at because I'm a moron, people are addicted to torment. So, you know, I was looking at a friend of mine page, and I see they're still caught up in this whole thing, you know. And that's being addicted to torment. Because, I mean, yesterday's show, I think everyone should watch yesterday's show right through to the end. I mean, it really makes the case for just, you know, just getting, you know, get off the train, man. You know, it's like Ozzy's Crazy Train, you know. I don't think I have that song here. I'd play the beginning of it because I could probably get that all aboard thing all in within the right time frame without it being getting a copyright hit.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So anyway, so this idiot, and, I don't hold back anymore. I used to think, you shouldn't call somebody this or that. How about functionally illiterate person? Is talking and saying, and again, functionally illiterate is a word from I think the Department of Education study or something like that. This has nothing to do with somebody that has a mental problem or something like that, physical mental problems. I'm not targeting that type of individual. All right. No, I'm talking about somebody that knows better. Okay. When I say an idiot or a functionally illiterate person, I'm talking about somebody who's program conditioned, right? Who could know better and who hasn't used their consciousness, right? Not somebody who has no ability to do it because of a mental deformity or, some sort of disease or something like that. I wouldn't dare cross that line and criticize someone like that, handicapped individuals. Okay, let's make that clear. I've made that clear many times, but just in case someone tuning in doesn't understand that. No, I'm just talking about a genuine idiot. Okay? All right? No holes barred back, not trying to be political correct. It says idiot announcer on Bloomberg. All right? But anyway, so apart from the fact that he was pushing, his interviews were pushing people to get the answer he wanted. So in effect, it wasn't an interview. He just might as well just done what I'm doing now. Just did a podcast. Right? But, amidst this thing with there was a couple of, different reporters or whatever. Anyway, so the idea was talking about employment came in, and I don't think it was from him. It was from somebody else. One of the women reporters. And they were talking about this is the lowest amount of workforce participation in 40 years, okay, since like the 70s. And then, then joyously this guy would interject. Yeah, but, the thing, or the other, somebody else would interject. Yeah, but this new bill, is going to, infrastructure thing is targeted to help. Yeah. I'm like, say what? How's it gonna make people participate in a workforce? Right? How's it going to make them suddenly have the skill to operate a front-end loader? Right? Right. Instantly give them a qualification to drive some kind of 18-wheeler or some kind of uke, truck, dump truck, the size of a building. Right? It's not going to operate a crane, right? Work in a steel mill, right? To create girders, learn to rivet, weld, right? There's suddenly all these people, right? These people who are going to trade in their cardboard signs, from protesting out in the streets. They're suddenly going to go and take courses and say, "Oh yeah, I want to join. I'm going to be a welder." Right? Yeah, right. And I know it's not going to happen. I mean, I'm half asleep, so that's why I got this eternal smile on my face and my eyes are like, But I'll wake up. I need more coffee. That's the problem. I got to get the coffee. I can't order the coffee thing till next week due to my, like I say, July, I kind of went over my budget in July. And so coming into August, I still have to wait a couple days. What's today, the 6th? I have like 5 days until I have my income, back at a level where I can afford to pay some bills and have a little extra to buy myself a coffee machine. So, it just goes with, and everything that comes out is always something that I've said on this show either a year ago, 6 months ago, or weeks ago. When the facts come out through the mainstream media machine, it just supports everything I say. Because everything I say is based on fact. It's just that I kind of do my research and due diligence, and they don't. They wait until there's some kind of press release comes out or some kind of information or something is released rather than do the hard work of searching for it. It's like me searching for that map. Now, I only wasted about a minute or two on it, but, if I would have had I really should have. I thought about it earlier. They do have a map that has numbers on it, like the actual temperatures of the day. And so if I would have spent 5 minutes, but I didn't want to waste more of your time, I would have found it. But these people won't do that. But at least I got to show you this thing, something anyway. But be that as it may, look, people aren't going back to work. That's just plain and simple truth. Workforce participation is at an all-time low. And it's only going to get worse. Apparently, Amazon is told that it was originally going to bring their workers back in September, but now they're pushing that off until January because of the new thing. Which makes me think that that's a signal, right, that they're going to extend the unemployment bonus from September till next January. Right. And even though this eviction thing that was done to extend it for 2 months has now been challenged in court, the question is, while it's being challenged in court, technically, through delays and this, that, the other, people are still going to be just taking advantage. And if you're a landlord and if you're rented out a room in your house, or if you rented out half of a duplex, or you have an apartment building for your retirement, and those people didn't pay, you're screwed. They don't care about you. They care about the indigent, idiot, lazy person, right? See, here's the thing. And, get this through your thick skulls, because I'm, like I say, I can't hold back anymore on this stuff. They say, oh, through no fault of their own, they lost their job. Okay, so you give them a safety net for a short period of time. So you say, okay, we'll have a moratorium on evictions for 90 days. All right, but you owe that rent. And they could have put in a clause there to say that the landlord could, was encouraged or should or whatever, negotiate that they could pay that catch up over a year. You see? So instead of having to just give this blanket thing of 3 months rent up instantly, that they could pay, divided by 12. But now they haven't been working for over a year, and so they owe a year's plus rent. All right, but anyway, so let's get back to this point. So say they would have done the 90-day one, which they did. And this is like a year and something. These people are just sitting around. Well, when I was and on Bloomberg, right? You know, CNBC, Fox Business, all these business people are saying there's a glut of jobs in the US on the magnitude of millions and millions of unfilled positions. And we are not talking McDonald's. We're talking jobs from every category you can imagine. Jobs that pay anywhere from, you know, under $15 an hour to $15 an hour to, you know, $1 million a year. Okay? Yeah, $1 million a year, or, you know, in the hundreds of thousands, or $60,000, $80,000. I know I get all these things all the time because I got some headhunter that constantly sends me jobs and says, do you want to work for Netflix? Do you want to work for Amazon Prime? Do you want to work for Disney? Right? And stuff like that. Because I've qualified, they don't have any people even qualified to like take these positions. So I get these offers all the time. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back to California, and I'm not going to work in that business because I don't like the kind of product you're putting out. And you're not going to want the product that I would like to produce. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, okay, so, you know, I don't care if, you know, if you heard this before, this sounds like some old fogey talking. But the fact of the matter is, and, you know, and the other thing is, when I was young, I did walk several miles to school uphill in the snow and rain to get to school, to get to grade school. And even high school, I had to walk up this monstrous, ridiculous hill that I'd probably have a heart attack if I had to walk up now. And I used to walk up that every day. But anyway, when I was younger and in between, you know, and I had some good jobs, and I went to the cities and I did well. But whenever I was in between, or if I made a decision that I was going to go to New York City, or go to Washington, D.C., or go to Philadelphia, or go to Los Angeles, right? And those were decisions I made, right? I want to work in New York. I want to work in Philly. I want to work in D.C. I want to work in L.A., right? Well, you get in your car. You load it up with everything you got. You got some money in your pocket, but not much. And you kind of calculate it out, figure it out, put a little cooler in the front seat with some, you know, some basic foods to eat that you could snack on, enough to get you through if you're going across country, you know, like the 3 days or so. You know, you got some water to drink. Maybe if you're lucky, you got a 6-pack of soda or something. Enough for an overnight in a Motel 6 and gas. And pretty much that's it. I remember rolling into Los Angeles, pretty much my gas tank on E, you know, barely making it to a parking place on, I think it was Wilshire Boulevard, which is like it's like a main commerce street in L.A. It's where all like businesses were at the time. Getting a L.A. Times and opening up, sitting in my car, getting out of my car, and looking at the classified section with a magic marker and circling jobs. And then going to a phone booth, and maybe not even having enough money for a phone booth. I think the one job I just walked to and walked in and said, I saw your ad in the paper. I'm, you know. And the thing is, and of course I got the job. But there were times when I said, and I've said this in other shows, that I've worked as a bus boy, a dishwasher, painting buildings. I wanted to live in Cape May. You know, it's a beautiful place. It's expensive as hell down there. But I ended up doing when I first went down, I was like painting buildings. right? Or I had this other job in the next city up, Wildwood, and I didn't have a car or money for bus. And I told that story, and for 2 weeks I had to walk like a couple miles to the next city, and I didn't even have money for food. I had enough for saltine crackers and a thing of peanut butter. And I'd have a couple of saltine crackers with a slap of peanut butter on it until I got my first paycheck. And every day after I put in a full day's work, I had to walk home like a couple hours. And, you know, I'm not saying that to say like, look at me, look how I did it. I knew a lot of people who did that. A lot of people did that. Everybody did that. You know, so, you know, there's all these jobs. And so what are these people doing? They're sitting at home because they don't want to frickin' work. They're like looking, oh, well, I want a dream job. I want to get some kind of, you know, I'm not going to go to work. I want this. I want that. I'm not going to go do this. So you think those people are going to like, they're going to pass an infrastructure bill and those people are going to be like signing up to work for some construction firm, some big contracting firm, and they're going to be the lowest person on the ladder? You know, and say, here's a shovel, here's a broom. All right. Clean up after these guys driving this front end loader. Right. Or take this shovel and anything that falls out of that truck, shovel it back in or whatever. They're not going to do that. And the stock market's way up. And then you got the Bitcoin millionaire. So mommy and daddy are basically... The thing that they're not saying, and they won't say it on Bloomberg because I don't know why. You know, why won't people talk real? That's why nobody watches this show. Why don't they just admit the reason that there's the highest level of, you know, of unemployment and lack of workforce participation, but there are more jobs being offered than ever before, and they're high-paying jobs, most of them. Most of them are high-paying jobs. And like I said before, just open up the paper. The low-paying jobs, McDonald's will give you a $1,000 sign-on bonus, so it's no longer like, right, a bad thing. So go work at McDonald's. They'll give you a $1,000 sign-up bonus. And before somebody tries to fact check me on that, yeah, it's $500 in your first check. They want you to at least work there for 6 months. Work there through the holidays, and then they give you the balance of the $500. And besides, they're no longer, depending on what part of the country you're in, they're not paying like the minimum wage. They're paying above minimum wage now. So get a frickin' job. No, the reality is this. Many of these people are getting like, they're the Peter Pan culture, and their parents, their divorced parents who have some kind of guilt or want to do one-upsmanship on showing that they're the better parent are sliding cash to these kids. And that, when I say kids, I mean 30-year-old kids or kids in their late 20s. Remember I told you yesterday, if you watch the show, it's like I couldn't wait to get out of school. When I was out of school, and I told you before, if there was a time machine or something, I could go back in time, I'd probably quit high school. I don't even know if I'd go my senior year in high school. Screw it. I had a successful year, and nothing I did in college contributed to that. All right? My consciousness and creativity made my life, right? My attitude, my ability, my quick thinking on my feet, and and my calling a spade did it, right? Not playing games like I'm doing right now. Just tell the truth, look at reality and talk reality. No, these are lazy bastards. The vast majority of these people are just lazy bastards that are they're soy boys, right? And I don't know what kind of girls, whatever you call them, They're just a bunch of lazy bastards. They don't want to work. Do you think I wanted to walk a couple miles to and fro a job, hungry, starving, literally begging the guy, a landlord where I was staying, like, to, give me let me have the room till I get my first paycheck. And luckily enough, the guy like 3 times said no, but like the 4th time saw the sincerity in me and believed in me and said, okay, I'll give you a chance, but I'll be back in 2 weeks and you better have that paycheck. Right? Because it was a resort town, Cape May. That's where I was hanging. And so the guy would just come down every couple of weeks because it was off season. And later on in the year, I got a job. I got a regular job or something. But I think I was just painting buildings and doing stuff like that. And when I worked down the shore, like I said, it was bus boy, working on the boardwalk on a pier, working the merry-go-round, the Ferris wheel. Because I wanted to be down the shore. But I wanted a job. I needed a paycheck because I wanted to, I had to pay my own way. And so these people just don't do this thing. And so there's not going to be a change. This is what I'm trying to say. Wake up. That's why you Save America, fucking idiots, man. Save America or Build Back Better. You're just as dumb. You're a bunch of dumb fucks too. All right? You're all maniacs. You're all frickin' functionally illiterate idiots. There is no politics anymore. There is no government. There is only a corporatocracy. And most of the people walking around in this geographical area, the former United States, all right, are functionally illiterate. And they spend a third of their life, or most of their life, these people, their entire life to date, being programmed and conditioned, right? And I have for servitude, but that was the old days. It's not servitude to be some kind of like weird activists, right? I mean, here's what they think. They think this is the United States of America. This is the, right? So everything is wrong. You see that up there? And you can still see my name, Tony Caravan, because, that's my quote, right? Some other guy tries to make that. But do you know what? Do you know the guy who some guy wrote a book about that, I think. And, I was actually in the Earth Changers book, and that guy was, I coined that word before that guy wrote his book. That's just another story. I don't want to get into that kind of thing. But anyway, titles are free anyway. You can't copyright a title. You're freaking idiots. I did everything before just about everybody. I mean mine, right? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Okay, here's what this indoctrination goofballs, these people, 0.004 CO2. This is what they're trying to say the United States is. That's what China is, and India, these developing nations. And the U.S. was like that at one point. Smokestack industries, they used to call them. All right? But instead, we have basically clear, clean air. All right? Do you frickin' get it, man? We have what they call Energy Star appliances. And so people are brainwashed and they're thinking this. All right, we got to get rid of carbon-based fuels. We got to get rid of airplane, jets, and everything else and go green. We already are green. The planet is green. The United States is one of the greenest places on the planet. Like I say, walk out your front freaking door, man. Unless you're living in inner city Detroit or Cuomo land or whatever that other guy is, the mayor of New York, that fruitcake, or the idiotic Chicago mayor who looks like, I don't know what, but she's a racist, lying, freak. And that same with the DC and all these other people. Unless you're living in some place like some Baltimore burned out neighborhood, that where's these people, these politicians that ran to like make things better? How come that's not cleaned up? Right? Why is crime escalating? Right? I'll tell you right now, hire me. I'll fix this stuff up in 90 days. 90 days. What are these people doing? Bureaucrats. See, they want to hold on to their cushy jobs, sit in a desk, and basically just email each other and then go have lunch, right? And various breaks, and then sit down in these rooms and watch these videos about issues and, how they should like treat each other, and they should hire more, people, who have similar warped ideas and who believe in that it's that the U.S. is like a smokestack industry. That's an old cut, printer's cut from like 120 years ago. This country hasn't been that way in 100 years, in a century. People are such idiots, man. People are absolute idiots. Get a job. Yeah, it sucks. Well, I don't have a car to get to work. Then walk. Take a frickin' bus. All right? Walk a couple miles. Yeah, it's hard. It stinks. Just do it. They just don't want to. They're lazy bastards. They're morons. Or mommy and daddy are giving them cash. They have some kind of degree that is there will never be a job for. And meanwhile, just to show how bizarre things are, this is a place called the Serapeum in Lower Egypt. Now, this picture doesn't give justice to this. This thing is huge. This almost looks like a coffin of some sort. No, it's not the size of a coffin. This thing's the size of a truck. Okay? There's no scale there. If there was a person standing there. Now, this is the size of a frickin' truck. Now, this thing, look how perfect shape that's in. Right? And it's a couple thousand years old. And there was something, and there's no way, this is underground, and there's a bunch of these things in these little alcoves, and they're opened like that, and there's nothing in them, and nobody knows what was in them. Some people, Egyptologists, right, these morons, I mean real morons, right? It's the same with like these British explorer types. It's like why I'm wearing this, right? Oh, there was some bull cult. They worshipped bulls, and they put bulls in these things. Yeah, right. They built these ridiculous granite things that we can't even reproduce today. And let alone, how would we even get it in there? To this day, no one knows how they could have gotten these things down under into those alcoves, let alone, what they were. I'll tell you what they were. That was one of the previous civilizations before the last cataclysm, which we're in the middle of right now, which makes me wonder, is like, what's going on when people are talking about some stupid thing, right? That's no big deal. It's not a big fucking deal, man. 99 fucking % of the people aren't gonna fucking die. All right? But basically, 99% of the people are going to die when the sun novas tomorrow or within the next 10 or 20 years. And this happens every 12,000 fucking years. You fucking maniacs. And they're not teaching this to people. And so the people previously, that's where they hid their shit and tried to preserve their stuff. And these fucking people in Europe and these stupid fucking British fucking explorers and these European ruling elite fucking Klaus goddamn, Mr. Klaus, right? Heil Klaus from the New World Order and Reset, they got that shit and they have that in their castles and stuff. It's like the stuff that's in the Vatican archives that they won't share with people. And meanwhile, they're teaching kids this. We gotta cut down, we gotta get rid of carbon-based something. It's like, you maniacs. What about that? Oh, and you've got to do something about this other thing because, yeah. The thing that 99% of the people aren't going to die from, but you're not going to talk about the thing that 99% of the people will die from in your frickin' lifetime. People are fucking maniacs, man. They just don't fucking get it. You know? I mean, you get out of your frickin' mind. These people drive me crazy, man. They really do. I'm sorry to get off on that thing, but, I really have to. So, take a look at this. Think about it. That's how I live my life. Fuck that maze. Right? I'm not going to play games, waste my whole life. You want the cheese? Just plow through and get the fucking cheese. Oh, my chair's a mess. Everything's a mess. Fucking seats fucked up and my balls are fucking a mess too. I guess I won't be sharing this one on LinkedIn because all those sirs, knights, and people wearing their Beau Brummels who follow me on there would just be too offended. Think about this picture. You understand what's really going on, man? Do you really fucking understand? You don't. You don't get it. You don't fucking get it. A third of your life is being spent programmed and conditioned either for servitude or just preparing you for propaganda or sending you to the, death camps. Because that's what's going on right now. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And they don't want us. They got no use for us anymore. Like I say, there was a time when we were this. And they treated us like cattle on a tax farm, a consumer farm, and all that stuff. But they don't need us anymore. So now they want to put us out to pasture. Or they got people running through these little mazes and it takes them their whole entire life. Then they finally, just when they get to the cheese, they frickin' die. All right? Some man-made bioweapon or, because of the accumulation of processed foods and poisons and everything else that the FDA approves, they die. So a third of your life is spent being programmed, conditioned, indoctrinated. And then the next part is you're either some kind of foolish Beau Brummel thinking you're doing something and then you end up broke in a nursing home, warehoused, right? Like cattle, or chickens in the way they stuff chickens in those places. cut off their beaks and then just send them out to slaughter. Like Cuomo did. Sent thousands of people to the slaughter. Then he abused women and all that other stuff. They keep talking about it, and we're going to have hearings or we're going to look into it. It's like, since when? If it was you or me, they would have instantly basically taken it. Right? What the fuck? You know, how's this guy get away with this shit? I'm telling you, man, it's craziness. And, you know, if you are that type of person that you're just getting off on being, you know, you're addicted to torment, then then you deserve what you get. You're addicted to torment. If you just keep fucking believing if there is a government and there are political parties, then you are a fucking idiot, all right? I don't know how better else to say it. You're a fucking idiot. There is no Republican Party. There is no Donald fucking Trump, all right? It's a cult of personality. He doesn't fucking exist, all right? It's a fucking mirage. It's a game. It's a fucking game. Save America from fucking what? From Joe Biden, who doesn't fucking exist. All right? These are marionettes. These guys are they're two sides of the same counterfeit fucking coin. There is no politics. There is only the corporatocracy. There is only big tech. There is only big pharma. There is only the Fed. There is only the military-industrial complex. There is only Wall Street. Okay? Get it through your thick fucking skulls. Your goddamn Jell-O mold that's got slices of banana and sour grapes in it. All right? Your bioelectric frickin' brain that's programmed, right? For a third of your fucking life. All right? Wasting your time. Third of your fucking life. You're programmed, conditioned to believe this idiocy. Well, what you see on the screen, that's me. Fuck that goddamn maze. Fuck their game. All right? I got the cheese as soon as I got out of school. I got the cheese while I was in school, man. You know, fuck that, I said. You know, wake up to reality. What the fuck? Save America. Right? Yeah, well, why didn't you fire those fucks when you were president? Because you fucking were looking out for your own fucking, trying to save your own fucking ass. And like people, build back better. Infrastructure bill. Then we're going to do this. And then we're going to like get the Green New Deal in and all this shit. And then we'll put people back to work. Retool and retrain them. Right? Yeah, right. Why would they do that? Mommy and daddy are still paying for them and they're 40 fucking years old. All right? And they're still getting allowances from mommy and daddy. And the other ones aren't going to fucking work. They don't want to fucking work. No job is good enough for them. And they're degreed in nothing, in some kind of studies. Right? Studies, issues. Right? There's no jobs for that. All right? And they certainly can't build the infrastructure because they don't know how to run fucking heavy equipment. Do you know how long it takes to become an expert on heavy equipment when you're talking about mission critical type of stuff like operating a crane, repairing a bridge that has massive amounts of traffic on it, fixing rail lines, right? Highways that have incredible amount of traffic, major roadways, right? All this kind of stuff. This isn't something you like get a job, right? And just like, no, it's heavy equipment. They don't use, we don't have any, well, first of all, these people would never use a pick and shovel. All right. But they don't use picks and shovels anymore, man. Scared some fuck away. People are fucking crazy, man, and that's the reality of it. If you want the cheese, just go get it, man. Just go get the fucking cheese. Now, let's deal with some things here. You see that cloud? That stuff happens. I've driven underneath that thing. Yeah, I one time was driving across the United States, and I was taking the northern route this time. I rarely ever take the northern route, the 80. I always used to do the 40, old Route 66 type of. I'd like veer into old parts of Route 66 wherever I could. But you had to kind of be in the 40, and then below that was like the 10 or something like that. But one time I was doing the 80 thing, okay? And I was married at the time. My wife was sitting to the right of me, and I had a cat in the back of this little tiny Dodge Colt thing. It was a Mitsubishi engine, which was the same engine the Japanese used in those kamikaze planes that bombed Pearl Harbor. That thing was just, it hummed. All right. And before the days where people talk about gas mileage, that thing got incredible gas mileage. It was the greatest car. And I drove it across country myself a couple times, and it had my seat, it had a total reclining seat. So I used to just go into a truck stop, pull in between two trucks, and I could pull my seat all the way down, put a pillow on, and just sleep in my car. But anyway, I was driving across the northern route one time, and I guess I was getting close to, just the upper end of like where, because Tornado Alley's kind of Kansas, into Oklahoma and, Texas, that like down there. And I was just up in the northern extreme area for some reason, and we're driving. And it's all open plains and shit like that up there. Just, you could see you got hundreds of miles of visibility. That's the other thing people don't really get. Like I say, they teach these fucking kids, right? We need to get rid of carbon fuel, carbon-based fuels, 0.004% CO2 you gotta say we need to save the planet. Well, I planned on need saving, man. All right. Okay. Planet doesn't need saving. You need saving. You got mental problems, man. You spent a third of your life or half your life. I think most people alive today, it's half their life. The average person today is not going to live beyond 50. I'm talking about the young people, not people who made it past the 50. In other words, if you passed that 50 mark, hey, you made it. Come on in. You made it. All right? Because at least you had the earlier years where you weren't poisoned, polluted, and, and basically intentionally, killed. Well, anyway, I was driving across this beautiful land we have, and speaking of which, I have got a little, let me just do this for you for the sake of it. One of these Trey Fergus pictures. All right. This beautiful land we live. Apparently there's all this sand coming over from the Sahara right now. It's like, that's why there's no hurricanes or anything going on. And you got to wonder, is somebody are they doing something there to blow that sand out? Right? These geoengineers, right? People don't, that's another thing they don't teach people in school about geoengineering. People think that was like my show on when I was talking about conspiracy theorists, two words that make no sense whatsoever. Right? All right. How's it a theory? Right? What paper is it written up in, peer-reviewed paper and journals it published in? What theory is it? What show me the mathematical formula. What's the physics behind this conspiracy? Or this idea that you can call it a conspiracy. Where's your documentation? Where's your mathematics? Where's your formulas saying this is a theory. People are such fucking idiots. Well, anyway, it's a beautiful world, but all the sand's coming over into the United States now. That's causing all kinds of damage. It's not only stopping hurricanes from happening. Okay, so I think it's geoengineering. You should look into that. It's fucking crazy, man. The entire Atlantic Ocean is just filled. It's going all the way into the Carolinas, all over Florida, all into the Gulf. All this fucking sand from the Sahara Desert. It's a fucking emptying out. So this geoengineering shit's going on. And so all that sand's coming down, and who knows what kind of damages that's going to cause. All right? But anyway, getting back to my story. So I'm coming across this beautiful fucking country. Look at that corn on the right-hand side on that side of that picture. All right? Despite this scary fucking cloud. All right? Because that's nature. All right? That's nature. This is years ago. This is 30-some years ago. Heck, I haven't been married. Well, I was married 30 years ago to that movie actress who was a fruitcake, too. She was weird. All right? She wanted to get a green card. Dutch actress, six foot tall thing. But it's okay. I fucked her. All right? So, I got what I wanted. All right? But she fucked me over in the long run. But my first wife, this is like, so before this is 35 fucking years ago. This is back when they were still telling us that we were entering into when they were right, when Time Magazine was telling us that we were entering into an ice age, which is ultimately what's going to be happening in the next 20 years. So I'm coming across these wide open plains, the upper end of the Tornado Alley type of thing. And I start looking, and I look to the right of me. Yeah, it was my left of me. No, my right, because my wife was sitting in the chair. She might have had the cat on her lap even. And I just glanced there, because you got this hundreds of miles of visibility, because this is the US of A, and we cleaned up our pollution, many, many years ago. The smokestack industry days was a century ago, man. A century ago. All right? We don't have that. We've got Energy Star appliances. Catalytic converters, filters on all of our HVAC systems, filtration on our plants. All right? We don't even pollute the rivers anymore. Right? Everything is cleaned up. I laid out in my backyard yesterday, was breathing in fresh oxygen because it's basically what they call a food forest, surrounded by green, right? I showed you before. I think I still have them up here. I hope I do. Did I get rid of it? Garden. Yeah, those are my tomatoes from my backyard. Tastiest fucking things you could fucking imagine. I chopped 2 of those up with the zucchini from my backyard. And I also put in what else from the backyard? I had like three or four ingredients that I grew in my backyard. I just fried it up in a pot with some olive oil and onion. That was the tastiest thing you could imagine. And there was a residue left in the bottom of it, like it was like a tomato soupy type of looking thing. And I just got a spoon because I ate it with a fork. But then I just put the pot, because I eat right out of the pot. That's the beauty of living alone. I just turned that pot sideways and took every last drop of that through a teaspoon or a tablespoon, like tomato soup. It's so flavor. There was nothing left in that pot when I went to wash it. It was like cleaned. That's how good it was. 0.004 CO2 is responsible for that. But anyway, this country's been clean for centuries. Well, not centuries, for decades. I'm sorry. I'm getting worked up today. So I'm going to finish this fucking story. So I'm coming across this highway, all right? Right at the edge of Tornado Alley type of thing. So I'm looking over at my ex-wife. She was a good woman and stuff. We just didn't, sometimes it just doesn't work out. She got remarried, had kids and stuff like that. God bless her, whatever she's doing. All right? I haven't talked to her in decades. All right? So, but anyway, I look over in her direction off, I don't know, 100 miles that way or something. But about 25 miles maybe, I don't know, I can't remember what it was. I started to see something spinning. All right? A funnel spinning. And I said, hey, do you see that over there? Right? And she noticed it. And so I started to think trajectory. Okay? So suddenly the thing crossed my mind. I started using my brain as a calculator. Because that's all it is. The bioelectric brain is just a freaking calculator. It's just a computer. It's your consciousness, right? Your soul, if you will, whatever. But your consciousness that's really you. All right? Otherwise, this is just a supercomputer. But, when we go through all that frickin' indoctrination nonsense, third of your life being programmed and conditioned, they take all that stuff away from you. So I turn on the calculator part of my brain, and I'm trying to basically calculate. I'm thinking, should I stop and let this thing cross the highway within the next, say, 20 minutes? Or should I speed up? Because if I stop, the thing could come at me. Right? I'm thinking. Or should I speed up because it's coming towards the highway in front of me? Or should I speed up and try to pass this thing out, and then that way it'll be behind me and I could floor it on this open road and I could hit 100 miles an hour, right? And outrun this thing. I was going to, So I decided I'm going to outrun the mother. And she's going like, yeah. She was in a state of terror. Okay, my ex-wife. I said, just buckle up. Get ready. So I floored it. And this thing was getting closer and closer. And the winds, when these things start getting closer, there was things and brush and stuff and things hitting the windshield, because this is the open plains like this, so like you see how there's cornfields and there's all these things growing and stuff. There were no buildings and stuff, so it wasn't like we were getting hit with like 2x4s from barns or anything. There was nothing. This is wide open plain land. So, but we're getting hit by brush and thing growing thing type of things. Right? And I'm just flooring it. Now we're going to beat this mother. And the closer we got, the closer it got. It was coming in. And I'm going. And I'm like, it's like if you ever watched Star Trek when they put it, suddenly they put it into warp speed. And I was like, whoo! And the moment I did that, woof, the thing crossed the highway right behind me. I could see it in the rearview mirror and just kept going that way. And I'm like, whoa, 100 miles down the road. I was like, that was fucking wild. That was a trip. The force of nature. There's nothing you can do about it. It's interesting when you experience it. But these crybabies, they have these things, the force of nature like comes out and they got to blame it on something. Shit happens, my friends. I've experienced that too. All right? I've experienced that. Get yourself a hoodie. What are you waiting for? I got the mugs already. Look at it. It really exists in the real world. Support the channel. See? Same thing. No false advertising here. Why does coffee turn ice cold? Right? How weird. You know? I mean, because if you take water, there's a bottle of water, spring water. It's the only water I drink. I don't drink that purified crap. Who knows what's in it? The temperature of this is warmer than that coffee. What's the physics behind that? Or is it all a mind game? Yeah, what was in the Serapeum boxes? Technology. Technology from 72,000 years ago, 36,000 years ago, before the previous, 24,000 years ago. I think that the Sphinx was built about 36,000 years ago. Somewhere between 36 and 72,000 years ago. The Serapeum probably around that time. That was the culture that put all those obelisks up around the world. They only show you the ones in Egypt. The things that look like the thing in Washington, D.C., which they copied from, obviously, from Egypt. But they probably put there for a reason. Because remember, those guys had the old knowledge. And remember, I'm all for Freemasonry and the Illuminati and all that stuff. I'm not anti that. Okay, I studied Rosicrucian, studies and things. So I'm not one of those people that whatever. George Washington was a Freemason, so he kind of knew what was going on. The old knowledge was been passed down for generations and generations, for thousands of years. So that Washington Monument is, those obelisks. And Tesla was into that, all right? The concept of earth energy. And so in these ancient days, these guys, I told this story once before, and I'm not going to expound on it here. You can go check back my old video. In these old days, previous civilizations before the cataclysm that repeats every 12,000 years, and it's going to happen right now. We're in the 12,000-year cycle. They're not teaching that to anybody. Instead, I don't know what, they're just messing with people's minds right now. They're telling people they got people scared of something that 99% of the people won't die from. And so in the meantime, they're hiding something that 99% of the people on the planet will die from. Every one of these 12,000 years extinction event, 99% of the people on the planet died. So you understand the absurdity of that? What's going on right now? So that horror woman behind my head, they got everybody up there terrified over something that 1% of the people or so, right? Who are basically already got half, whatever the term is, half a leg or half, or half in the coffin anyway. All right. Die from. Yet 99% of the people are just about to die in the next year, 10 years, 20 years tops. Could be any time now. Magnetic fields totally weakened to sick levels. All right. We're totally open to cosmic rays, solar rays and stuff. And the stuff's happening all over the solar system. So we know it's the sun. It's not 0.004 CO2. It's the sun. Okay? It's the frickin' sun. You look at the gas giants. You haven't. Right? All the changes that are going on there. It's crazy. This is happening, man. This is really frickin' happening. And so these other guys put all this stuff in there, but somehow these guys, these British explorers and these Vatican fucks, the people who are hiding this stuff in the Vatican archives, and these other ruling elitists, Klaus, New World Order, follow me. World Economic Forum, Great Reset. Great Reset is the Staples red button that's connected to nothing. I explained that yesterday. The Great Reset is a red button, red plastic button that is connected to nothing. All right, and in case you didn't know, they already pushed the button. And there is no Save America, and there is no Build Back Better, because there is no America anymore. There is only a corporatocracy. Get it through your thick frickin' skull, man. How stupid could people be? I mean, I know how stupid they could be. Because this is what happened. The older folks, a third of their life was spent being programmed, conditioned for servitude. The younger folks, all right, well, their entire lives have been programmed and conditioned and indoctrinated, but not for servitude because they're not working. And they're never going to work. So all that stuff was in there. So these guys know what's going on. Previous advanced civilizations had stuff, so they're planning on surviving this thing. They got that seed vault up in Svalbard. They've got all these like tunnels and caverns and these places in the U.S. And then DARPA just had that contest, which I think is just ended or something, about who, to get the $1 million prize for whoever comes up to get a contract to build the robotic device that could burrow through all this ice that's going to happen after this event and open up these doors to these shelters where the, continuity of government and the ruling elite are planning to like ride out this thing. You don't know what you don't know, man. You really don't know, and you really don't get it. And you are like that woman in the upper corner of this screen. Scared out of your wits and talking and obsessed and being like getting off on being tormented about something that is like nothing. And these young kids, mommy, smokestack industry, we've been taught in school. Right? Warped. Meanwhile, guys like me are going like, yeah, the more CO2, the better. Bring it on. Look at these tomatoes. You take a bite out of those, man, you cannot imagine. It's a food. It's a mouth explosion, a flavor explosion. You just don't get it. You don't frickin' get it. And if I put this up, do you know that this picture, this slot, they animate video, the YouTube title cards, every time I pull her up, they come up, and she'll be the image that will come up, not the smokestack industry or anything. Look at that fucking body, man. Wouldn't you love to fuck her? And people aren't fucking right now. That's the problem. They're not fucking. It's like, get out there. The only people who are people, like 1 million immigrants just came into the country so far this year. Right? And they've got kids, and they're getting like $300 a pop for a kid, plus all free services. So, man, you're in the wrong boat. Get into the poverty level, and then and ride this thing out to the end. All I want to do is stay alive and witness the end of the world, for all practical purposes. None of us are going to survive. In the U.S., nobody's going to survive. The only people who will survive will be like groups around certain equatorial regions, possibly, and on the side of certain mountain cave areas and stuff. Really weird things, and it's all up in the air. If you look at the CIA, that classified documents from the CIA that they classified for 50 years, released some of it. You got to read that stuff, you know. That's pretty crazy stuff. It's in my book that nobody bought. See if I can find it. Let's see here. Where's that CIA thing? I actually have the picture of this one of the CIA documents in here. So it's really hard to read because these glasses are reading glasses, but they're not super magnifiers. You see the small thing? That's like a copy of the CIA document. Okay, why would the CIA classify this for 50 years? I'm just going to read like just a short bit of it. With a rumble so low as to be inaudible, growing, throbbing, then fuming into a thundering roar, the earthquake starts. Only it's not like any earthquake in recorded history. Pardon me, that wasn't me. In California, the mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. Imagine a 2-mile high tsunami. With the force of 1,000 armies, the wind attacks, ripping, shredding everything in its supersonic bombardment. The unbelievable mountain of Pacific seawater follows the wind eastward, burying Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. You know, it's another thing, just a quick aside, people don't understand. That, you know, when they talk about like hot weather out there and stuff, like when I lived in LA, and that was 30 some years ago, I spent an entire year there. It never rained. And remember that song from the 70s? It never rains in California, but girl, they warn you. Right? Yeah. People are making this like a big deal. They're going, there's a drought. LA's a fucking desert, man. It's a fucking desert. It's not a drought. It's a desert. People don't get this stuff, man. And all that, and these farmlands and all this stuff, that's like diverted water and stuff like that. It's a fucking desert. It's not a drought. And El Nino and, you know, and all this other stuff, the Santa Ana winds and stuff like that, that's been happening forever. Talk to a Native American, an Indian. Nothing but nothing stops the relentless, overwhelming onslaught of wind and ocean. Again, this was classified by the CIA. This says declassified in part, sanitized copy, approved for release. CIA.gov. All right? Across the continent, the 1,000 miles per hour wind, 1,000 miles per hour. All right? Nothing can withstand that. Wreaks its unholy vengeance everywhere, mercilessly, unceasingly. Every living thing is ripped into shreds while being blown across the countryside. And the earthquake leaves no place untouched. In many places, the Earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white-hot liquid fire to add to the Holocaust. Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of water moves across the continent, burying the wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. In a fraction of a day, all vestiges of civilization are gone, And the great cities Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York are nothing but legends. Barely a stone is left where millions walked just a few hours before. The CIA classified that for 50 frickin' years. Why? Codex, my book. Get the frickin' book. It's a short read, $12.95 or something on Amazon. Don't get the... You can get it on iBooks and Kindle and stuff like that. Fuck digital. Get the frickin' book. You want to have a copy of that book. Because, by the way, the grid's going down before this thing happens. The magnetic field's so weak. Any day now, we're losing this. Do you think your whole life is based on this stupid thing? All right? Well, you're a fool because you're not even going to have this. Who are you going to text when you don't have an internet? You fools. People are fools. 0.004 CO2. Mommy, they told us at school we have to Shut up, kid. Mommy, they told us we got to save our planet. It's not your planet, kid. It's the trees' planet. And guess what? The planet's going to survive that Holocaust I just read. But guess who's not going to? 99+% of the people won't survive. Not like this thing they're talking about that 99% of the people have survived. Hydrate yourself. Get a suntan like me, man. I'm dark I don't look it, but I'm like dark. I'm dark as a person of color. So I'm a person of color. Yeah, man, you don't get it. Nobody frickin' gets it. They just don't fucking get it. And meanwhile, people are out there wearing their Beau Brummel suit. Right? Frickin' idiots. It's one of those shows, I just can't help it, But,
This is really funny. Really funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Okay.
I missed it. There we go. That feels better. You got to get that every now and then. And now, let's start the show. Actually, we're just about we're near the end. But, man... Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Yeah. People don't get it. They just don't get it. And this weekend, here's what's been going on. That's right. Careful you don't miss a spot. Got to make it look like a golf course. That's right. Wave to your neighbor who's on his riding mower you got from the box store. They'll probably be going on discount since it's August now. A bunch of idiots mowing their lawns.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Yeah, the most popular show on a global basis. Nobody listens to it anymore in the U.S. because they're scared shitless around here, To them,
This is a nightmare. Must be a nightmare.
Yeah, right.
Why are you telling us this?
I'm telling you this because it's the frickin' truth, man. And I know. Why do I know? Because I've been studying this shit my entire fucking life, man. My entire fucking life. So, yeah, I know what's going on.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
It's going fine today. I got no problems. I got no problems. I showed people pictures of the Serapeum. I told people that, 99% of them are freaking going to die. Nobody in the U.S. is going to survive. It's very doubtful anybody in the U.S. is going to survive this thing. The CIA classified it. It's in my freaking book. Get it. Buy it. Buy it today. All right? You'll get that delivered fast, too. Hell, you get 1 or 2 day delivery at Amazon if you got Amazon Prime. You know, remember, just like in the picture, the mugs are available. See how smooth that is? It's like somehow, I don't know what they use, but it's painted, right? It's painted right in there, the same way like the handle is painted. You know, it's in there. So, you know, get it. Support the show. Otherwise, you could see underneath the maze, the morning show mug, which is a little bit smaller. That's a metal campers like kind of mug. I did use that for a long time, though. Yeah, so, I mean, are you going to be one of these frickin' idiots? You know, allow your programming to take charge of your consciousness, right? Or are you just going to basically say, screw this thing. Life is no maze. I'm not going to play this happy horse shit. I'm just going right for the frickin' cheese. There's not enough time left to play games anymore. Enough with this politics. You're waiting for 2022, 2024. Too long, man. The grid may be down within, before then. There will be elections or exercises in futilities. I don't even think there'll be another election. And it doesn't matter anyway. We're run by a corporatocracy. Why don't you people believe that? Why don't you understand? You know what big tech is. Right? You know what big pharma is. I know that you're all idiots and you're watching TV, so you see those ads for drugs, and then you see the ads by the law firm saying that drug, was bad for you and that you can get compensation from, contact the law firm of. I say this all the time. The FDA has the worst track record of any organization in the history of mankind. Right? If you've taken such and such, contact the law firm of blank, and you'll receive your compensation for death, dismemberment, or organ failure, or whatever happened to you, or the fact that you're now a vegetable. You're a TV watcher. You've seen those commercials. That's all that's on TV. They put an ad for a drug, then they put an ad by a law firm on. That and cars. And they're about to pass a law where half the cars have to be taken off the road. Let's see what the automobile industry does with that. And apparently, what was it, GM or one of them just yanked their electric cars off the road again, right? Recalled them because they screwed them up. And nobody can afford a Tesla. Let's face the facts. The average person can't afford a Tesla. That's. And besides, where are you going? What are you doing? You're just going through a maze wearing your Beau Brummel outfit? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Right? What are you doing? Do you see how programmed you are? Don't you get it? Don't you understand what indoctrination is? Don't you understand propaganda? Don't you understand control, manipulation, conditioning? Could you be such a fool? You criticize your viewers. No wonder they don't watch you. Yeah, right.
All hit music, solid rock and gold. Wow, it's Friday.
Minus the all hit music, Unless you want to like name that tune in 1 second. Name that one. Bueller. Bueller.
Oh, I got you.
That was easy. Name of the tune is the first word.
Oh, well, everybody's heard.
That's an easy one. These are all basically golden oldies. So, anyway, that's all I really have to say today, I think. You know, I can't think of anything else.
Good morning.
You know, you got to figure it out for yourself. I mean, the writing's on the wall. If you can't see it, you know, what am I supposed to do? What more can I say? I mean, I'll keep doing these things, I guess, until the power goes out. So thanks for watching. Go to TonyCaravanLive.com, rockflux.com. Rockflux will eventually morph into something that's going to deal with this upcoming cataclysm, which could happen like this afternoon for all we know. We're in that 12,000 year cycle. All right. And, you know, we don't really have an awful lot of time. And we're already seeing the effects of it. They're trying to blame a lot of this on CO2 and climate change, this, that, the other. But they don't understand. They're correct that there are these earth changes going on. It's just that they don't understand that they're coming from the sun. So go to my website, TonyCaravanLive.com. Support this effort. Get a mug, get a shirt. You don't know what you don't know. Everything you know is wrong. Game over. Right? Go to Great Solar Stuff. Get something really quick so that you got some power when the grid goes down. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Get your acts together, man.